USS Nimitz is an aircraft carrier of the United States Navy, and the lead ship in her class. One of the largest warships in the world, she was designated, launched, and commissioned as CVN-68, an aircraft carrier, strike, nuclear-powered. But she was later redesignated CVN-68, an aircraft carrier, multi-mission, nuclear-powered, on June 30, 1975, as part of the fleet realignment of that year. The ship is named after World War II Pacific Fleet Commander Chester W. Nimitz, USN, 1885–1966, who was the Navy's third fleet admiral. Nimitz had her base at Naval Station Norfolk until 1987, when she was transferred to Naval Station Bremerton in Washington, now part of Naval Base Kitsap. After a refueling and complex overhaul in 2001, her home port was changed to North Island Naval Air Base in San Diego County, California. Nimitz's home port was again moved to Naval Station Everett in Washington in 2012. In January 2015, Nimitz changed home ports from Everett back to Naval Base Kitsap. With USS Enterprise decommissioned in 2012, Nimitz is now the oldest U.S. aircraft carrier still in service, and the oldest serving aircraft carrier in the world. Nimitz was authorized by the U.S. Congress in fiscal year 1967, and Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company in Newport News, Virginia, was awarded a $106.5 million contract, equivalent to $934.69 million today. Her keel was laid on June 22, 1968. The ship was christened on May 13, 1972 by Catherine Nimitz Lay, daughter of the late Admiral Nimitz, 6 years after his death. Nimitz was delivered to the Navy in 1975, and commissioned at Naval Station Norfolk on May 3, 1975 by the 38th President of the United States, Gerald R. Ford. In November 1976, Nimitz was awarded the Battle E from the commander of the U.S. Atlantic Fleet, Naval Air Force, for being the most efficient and leading carrier in the Atlantic Fleet. The voyage was uneventful, and the carrier returned to Norfolk, Virginia on February 7, 1977. On September 21, 2001, after sea trials at Virginia Capes, Nimitz began transiting South America to her new home port of NAS North Island in San Diego, California, and arrived there on November 13, 2001. Aircraft from Carrier Air Reserve Wing 20 departed for the transit. From January to May 2002, a 4-month post-shakedown maintenance availability was completed at North Island. During this time, advanced combat briefing systems were installed. In November 2004, Nimitz was contacted by the USS Princeton, which reported tracking an unidentified flying object. Princeton then contacted 2 Navy F-divided by a -18F fighters from Nimitz, whose cockpit instrumentation recorded data and imagery that some pilots interpreted as objects accelerating and maneuvering at extraordinary speeds. The incident was made public in December 2017 along with details of the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program. In January 2010, while in the Persian Gulf, the ship was awarded the Meritorious Unit Commendation for consecutive deployments in support of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan in 2007 and 2008. The award was presented by Admiral Gary Roughead in a ceremony on the ship on January 6, 2010. In April 2020, the coronavirus was reported to have spread to the Nimitz when the first case was reported on April 7. A sailor had tested positive the previous week after showing symptoms, and was subsequently placed in isolation and removed from the ship. Other crew members also tested positive, but were reportedly not working on the ship. On April 27, the Nimitz completed its 27-day quarantine and began COMTUEX training. On November 28, 2022, Nimitz departed Kitsap and sailed for San Diego to assume leadership of the carrier strike group. She departed San Diego on December 3, 2022. On January 21, 2023, she made a port call to Singapore. She departed Singapore on January 26, 2023. On February 26, 2023, Nimitz made a port call at Guam. She arrived at Busan for a scheduled port visit on March 28, 2023. Nimitz recorded her 350,000th landing on April 22, 2023. On April 24, 2023, Nimitz arrived at Lame Chabang, Thailand for a scheduled port visit. Nimitz-class aircraft carriers have a lifespan of about 50 years. Nimitz's own decommissioning estimate was updated in April 2022, with the Navy press corps indicating that USS Nimitz, CVN-68, is planned to be removed from the combat force in fiscal year FY 2025, when the terminal offload program begins, with decommissioning scheduled to begin in 2027.